Okay, so it's literally 20 minutes before the cup race begins. And so let's talk about the Xfinity race in the meantime. Um, so Sonoma. This track was repaved, despite some reports earlier in the year that the repave was not going well. But the track looks good overall, aside from the inside of turn 11 being covered with walls all around, which I am not a fan of that. It could potentially mean, because it could potentially mean less passing at a zone that has produced like some of the most memorable passes slash moments in the track's history. So if this is NASCAR's idea of enforcing track limits, this just ain't it. I'm sorry. Most importantly, though, this is the last weekend that Fox is covering NASCAR. Praise the racing gods. For the Xfinity race specifically yesterday, it was the last NASCAR race broadcast on Fox because NBC would take over after NBC would take over for the rest of the season, and then in 2025, the CW would take over for all 33 Xfinity races. Okay, actually, now that I think about it, the CW will actually take over for the regular season finale in the Xfinity and then the playoff races. But yeah, you get the point. Fox is no longer going to be involved with the Xfinity races for the time being. Um, to be determined on what happens with the Truck Series. I still think they're going to be involved. Unfortunately, Cup Series, they're signed through 2031. But yeah, no Fox in Xfinity. That's a start. SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole. He picked up where he left off last week. First career win last week, first career pole this week. He was also the fastest guy in practice on Friday, which, by the way, they practiced on Friday, both Xfinity and the Cup race. They had full practice sessions, which I obviously loved. I know it was because of the repave, but again, having like a actual full practice session like they used to do back in the day, I'm an advocate that NASCAR should do that for every single track. I know teams are afraid of potential backup cars cutting costs, but practice has historically been linked to good race performance. So I want to see more practice. That's just almost what almost every NASCAR fan wants. But so yeah, we had a full practice session. SVG was the fastest, which, by the way, again, Fox obviously did not bother to show live. They showed it on tape delay. I get that it was like on Friday afternoon, but still, come on, Fox. If you're gonna cover all things NASCAR, that includes practice as well. But anyways, SVG on the pole after being the fastest guy in practice. Ty Gibbs qualified second, running the 19 car. Austin Hill third, AJ Allmendinger fourth, Justin Allgaier fifth, then Jesse Love sixth, John Hunter Nemechek seventh, now back in the 20 car, Sam Mayer eighth, Sheldon Creed ninth, and Sammy Smith 10th. Moving back through the field, other notables: Ed Jones 17th, he was running the 26 car for Sam Hunt Racing. Alex Labbe 19th, making his return to the Xfinity Series, running the 07 SS Greenlight Racing car now. Austin Green qualified 22nd. He's once again driving the Jordan Anderson 32 car. His third start of the season. He also raced last week at Portland. Preston Part is 24th, running his family-owned 50 car. Thomas Annunziata, ARCA driver who finished second at Daytona in the ARCA race, and also NASCAR Instagram personality. He runs in the Trans Am series as a matter of fact. But yeah, he made his Xfinity debut in the JD Motorsports 6 car. He qualified 26. He qualified 26 for his debut. Then Brandon Jones 27th, Josh Williams 28th. Brad Perez, he is back in the wheel, driving the 14 car for SS Greenlight. Josh Bilicki 31st. After his stellar showing last week in the 19 car for JGR, he's now back to running the 92 for DGM Racing for this weekend. Boris said he qualified 35th. Just a very difficult weekend overall for him. He had to go to a backup car after crashing in practice in turn 1. He was the only driver to be sent to the rear for this race, by the way. The only guy that had to go to a backup car or had to be sent to the rear for whatever reason. Yeah, he was running the 17 car for Hendrick too, and so very difficult weekend for him overall. Matty Benedetto 36, Haley Deegan 37, then Garrett Smithley 38th in the JD Motorsports 4 car. Only one car failed to qualify. That was Sage Karam driving the 35 car for Joy Gaze. So we go to stage 1, and SVG jumps out to an early lead with Ty Gibbs right behind him in second, half a second behind, with Austin Hill staying in third, Jesse Love fourth, AJ Allmendinger fifth. The stage went green the rest of the way, all the way, flag to flag. We had Chandler Smith trying to make a pass in turn 1, but because there was the wall on the inside, he could not complete the pass. He got into Parker Kligerman, who got into Cole Custer, causing the 10th to go wide and lose both spots to the 48 and the 81. This happened, I believe they were fighting for like 10th or 11th. And look, I tried to be as neutral as I could to this new turn 11 wall, but the more I watched this race, the more I realized NASCAR, they really nerfed the best passing zone in the entire track, all because they wanted to enforce track limits. Like, didn't they learn from COTA that enforcing track limits like this is so bullshit? Like, I'm not a fan of putting the wall in there. Like, if you want to put a wall in there, fine, but don't do it in the best passing zone on the track, at a track that it's already hard to pass either way. Like, you would notice that there was like a lack of passing for the lead outside of restarts, and that was a huge part of that was because of that turn 11 wall discouraging drivers from actually being aggressive with their passes. We also had Austin Hill tagging the tire barriers on the outside after wheel hopping in turn 11. He dropped from 3rd to 6th. And also Sheldon Creed, he made an unscheduled pit stop after reporting a flat left rear tire. So, stage 1 went green all the way, like I said, which allowed some drivers to flip the stage and pit towards the end of the run. I mentioned Sheldon Creed pitting earlier because he had reported a flat tire. But Ty Gibbs, Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer, Cole Custer, Ed Jones, and Austin Green also pitted. So, SVG stayed out and cruised to the stage win. 12 seconds over the second place car of AJ Allmendinger. So, Austin Hill finished 3rd, Parker Kligerman 4th, John Hunter Nemechek 5th, Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, Anthony Alfredo, Parker Retzlaff, and Riley Herbst. They completed the top 10 for stage points. This is also the first stage win for a driver not named Justin Allgaier since Cole Custer won stage 2 at Dover back in April. So all of the stage wins in the month of May, and then Portland last week in June, were Justin Allgaier stage wins. This is the first time since April a driver not named Justin Allgaier has won a stage. So we go to pit road. The leaders pit, except the drivers who pitted before the stage ended. So that means that Ty Gibbs assumes the lead, and SVG wins the race of pit road. He will be restarting in 8th. Allmendinger lost 4 spots after an issue with the front air hose that cost him time on pit road. Apparently the front air hose got caught on the splitter, and then Riley Herbst and Kyle Sieg got penalized for speeding. Then we go to stage 2. Ty Gibbs is now the new leader with Jesse Love 2nd, Sam Mayer 3rd, and SVG up to 4th after restarting 8th. Just like in stage 1, stage 2 went green the rest of the way, although we had a couple of incidents that they, didn't bring out a caution, but, it was worth mentioning because nothing of note happened in stage 2 outside of that. Leland Honeyman spun in turn 1 on lap 26, then a couple of laps later, not turn 1 actually, he spun on turn 11, I'm talking about Leland Honeyman, he spun out on turn 11 on lap 26. So a couple of laps later, Boris said he spun out after getting tagged by Alex Labbe in turn 7. And a little bit of a side note here, I was not aware Boris said was that old. I saw a graphic when the Fox broadcast, they were talking about him. He was 61 years old, and I just could not believe my eyes. Between this and Adam Alexander calling Cole Custer a veteran, I feel so old. And I am 1 year older than Cole Custer, by the way. So, you already know, calling Cole Custer a veteran, and I am older than Cole Custer. Like, thanks for making me feel so old, Adam Alexander. Thanks for that. And then another incident that happened, Thomas Annunciata spinning out in turn 11 a few laps after that. But just like stage 1, some drivers decided to split the stage as well. Sam Mayer, Austin Hill, AJ Allmendinger, Austin Green. Sam Mayer took only 2 right side tires, by the way. This time though, Ty Gibbs cruises to the stage win by 6 seconds over second place. SVG, once again, he stays out and finishes the stage in second. Jesse Love third, Sheldon Creed fourth, Cole Custer fifth, Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Parker Kligerman, Justin Allgaier, and Parker Retzlaff, he finishes 10th. Retzlaff barely got the final stage point over Sammy Smith after the 8 car broke an axle and had to pit after the stage ended. He was on track to finish 10th, but that broken axle caused him to lose ground and eventually take it to the garage, falling several laps down. So Parker Retzlaff was there to pick up the final stage point. So we go to pit road. The leaders pitted except Austin Hill, Austin Green, and AJ Allmendinger, who were the 3 guys who stayed out, with Austin Hill taking the lead. Sam Mayer had also pitted towards the end of the stage, but he put 2 tires. So he pitted again to put the other 2 left side tires to complete the 4 tire set. He gained 13 spots on pit road. And Cole Custer, he wins the race of pit road after Ty Gibbs has a slow stop after an issue with the left rear tire. So he fell outside the top 10. And Jesse Love also had a pretty slow stop after almost missing his pit stall after having to enter at an awkward angle. And John Hunter Nemechek and Jeremy Clemens get penalized for speeding. Boris Said also got penalized for a safety violation. And Riley Herbst, once again, he got a penalty for pitting outside his box. So we go to stage 3. Austin Hill is the new leader now, with Austin Green and Allmendinger battling for second behind him. But in turn 3, there is a lot of smoke, multiple cars crashing. It's the big one at Sonoma. Apparently Chandler Smith, he got spun off of turn 3 by Shep Burton, and the carnage began from there. Brandon Jones, Jesse Love, Josh Williams, Ty Gibbs, who was stuck mid-pack after that slow stop, he got involved. Thomas Annunciata, Boris Said, Ed Jones, Ryan Sieg, Parker Retzlaff, Preston Pardus, Kyle Weatherman, and Josh Bilicki collected. So in total, 14 cars were involved in this wreck. So after a lengthy yellow for cleanup, the race resumes with 24 laps to go. And Austin Hill continues to lead while Allmendinger and SVG battle for second. SVG eventually gets second and goes on to challenge Hill for the lead. If you remember, it's round 2 between these 2 guys. If you remember what happened at COTA earlier in the year. So you already know, if SVG got to Austin Hill, he was gonna make him, he was gonna get rough with him. We got some incidents though during this green flag run. Cole Custer got spun out by Sam Mayer on turn 11th while battling for 4th. Fortunately, no caution came out. Chandler Smith also spun out in turn 7th while running outside the top 20. And SVG also started reporting voltage/alternator issues. He also locked the brakes up with 19 to go when it seemed like he was about to make a pass for the lead. And apparently he had an issue with that steering rack that was bent a little bit sideways. So you get the gist of it. His car was actually starting to break down, and you can blame no one else but, Kaulig Racing for just, giving him scraps to work with. Or rather, it's not that it wasn't a scrap, but it's just like that the car was not as fast as it looked in the first half. All that wear and tear that SVG was putting on that car, all that punishment that SVG was giving the car was just starting to break down because of all that SVG was trying to get out of it. Because of that, it was pretty hard for Van Gisbergen to actually go out and dominate and pull away. Because if this was stage 1, he would have gotten the lead from Austin Hill already. But because it's stage 3 and the car has been more worn down than usual, you got the point. But anyways, a caution comes out for Jesse Love spinning coming up of turn 10 after getting loose. Some people were wondering why that was a caution, but Turn 10 is a very high-speed corner. It's a very high-speed zone coming off turn 10, entering turn 11. And he spun, he was coming into the racing surface sideways. So, yeah, again, I can see why people should say that was not a caution, because it's very rare for cautions to be thrown at road courses for that. But then again, it's not that big of a deal, considering nothing of note happens at Sonoma anyways. So we go to the restart, and SVG breaks even with Hill, and he runs the 21 wide in turn 2 to retake the lead, and this drops Austin Hill back to 5th. That was definitely the move of the race. You know, maybe SVG got a little bit into the grass, into the rumble strips. Maybe Hill ran it down a little bit there, and maybe SVG just didn't. Maybe he just didn't take too lightly to that, and considering that he and Austin Hill had already run themselves at Coda, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna race you how you raced me at Coda, and he retakes the lead. Austin Hill, obviously pissed off, he drops back to 5th. Sheldon Creed also spins Allmendinger after wheel hopping turn 7 while battling for 4th. Just a wild sequence on that restart. When the dust settles, SVG has retaken the lead with Sam Mayer in 2nd, Sheldon Creed in 3rd, and Austin Green in 4th. And as the laps wind down, we see several incidents. Ryan Ellis spinning out in turn 11 with 8 laps to go, no caution. Then with 3 laps to go, Ryan Sieg gets spun into turn 2 while after getting into it with Parker Retzlaff. Both of them were running inside the top 10. And Preston Pardus also spun out behind them. But again, like I said, no caution came out. The race stayed green the rest of the way. And SVG cruises to back-to-back wins. That means that we get to see his cool celebration with the sideways burnout, which he did in front of Austin Hill. And you can tell Austin Hill was pissed off because he was trying to stop him from celebrating. He was, his car was in front of SVG, and it was just glorious. Just SVG just doing the sideways burnout in front of the guy that he, you know, ran over to, or rather, the guy he had to get aggressive with to get the win. It was absolutely glorious. This also meant another autographed rugby ball being kicked into the stands as a souvenir. And by the way, SVG, he's got some great, he has a great kick out there. You saw how he kicked that rugby ball at Portland. At Sonoma, the grandstands are even a little bit further, but he almost kicked that into the stands. He just missed the grandstands, but still, that was a pretty powerful kick by SVG. But, yeah, anyways. Let's go over some of the notable finishers on this race. Sheldon Creed finished 2nd, another 2nd place finish for him. The 9th of his career now, still with 0 wins. The guy's slowly starting to become the new Daniel Hemrick of the Xfinity Series. Sam Mayer finished 3rd. He narrowly beat out Austin Green at the line because they had a nice battle for 3rd coming to the finish line. Austin Green finished 4th, but he narrowly lost out on the top 3, but still, his 2nd top 10 of the season, 1st top 5, career best finish. This guy has a future in this series, either as a road course ringer or as a full-time driver. He's definitely showing some promise. Austin Hill finished 5th, Justin Allgaier 6th. Chandler Smith, great bounce back from him after getting involved in that big wreck. He finished 7th. John Hunter Nemechek in 8th. Cole Custer 9th. And Parker Kligerman 10th. Then we got Parker Retzlaff in 11th. Jesse Love 12th. Riley Herbst, he battled back from 2 speeding penalties to finish a solid 13th. Brennan Poole finished 14th. Ed Jones 15th. Josh Bilicki 16th. AJ Allmendinger, he was in the running for a top 5, but after getting spun out by Sheldon Creed on the last restart, he finished 17th. Blaine Perkins finished 18th. Alex LaBey finished 19th. And Ryan Sieg, after he's running with Retzlaff, he finished 20th after being on pace for a top 10. And speaking of Ryan Sieg, he got into it with Parker Retzlaff after the race. Some words were exchanged, and if you look at the replay that they showed after the incident with Ryan Sieg, it looked like Sieg was not very happy with the way Retzlaff ran him off of turn 11. He just, he doored him coming to the finish line, and then on turn 2, the very next lap, Retzlaff apparently retaliated. So yeah, that spin by Retzlaff on Ryan Sieg, that was on purpose. So again, I understand Ryan Sieg being upset at Retzlaff, for retaliating, but again, he started that. I'm on Retzlaff's side on this one. Matt DiBenedetto finished 21st in this race. Brad Perez 24th. Preston Pardus 25th. Ryan Ellis, after his late spin with 8 to go, fell all the way down to 26th. Boris Said finished 28th after a very difficult day. Well, when it looked like he was in the running for a top 20, he just ended up finishing 28th. Anthony Alfredo finished 31st, back-to-back sub 30th place finishes for him. His playoff chances just got way more difficult in just a 2-week span. Haley Deegan 32nd, Sammy Smith 33rd after that broken axle issue at the end of stage 2 that put him several laps down. Thomas Annunziata 34th. He was able to continue. He was involved in the big wreck. He was able to continue, but then he ended up wrecking. Or rather, he ended up taking it to the garage anyways. I believe it was a transmission issue. But yeah, he ended up not finishing the race. Ty Gibbs also finished 35th. DNF. Also a DNF for Jeff Burden, who finished 36th. Josh Williamson 37th. And Brendan Jones 38th. All of these guys being, of course, DNFs from the big crash at the start of stage 3. But yeah, the race itself was pretty meh. But SVG running up front and putting out monster lap after monster lap, it made this race worth sticking around for. SVG is just so fun to watch on road courses. It also figures that the driver that has scored Kaulig's only 2 wins this season is not even a Kaulig racing driver. A Trackhouse driver is really putting Kaulig on his back, just to show you the sorry state of this team. Kaulig's only 2 wins of the season have come at the hands of a driver that is not under contract with Kaulig. He's just loaned from Trackhouse. And this win did not come easy either, because the field made him work for it, particularly Ty Gibbs and Austin Hill. But still, he was the fastest in practice. He was the fastest in qualifying. He led the most laps. He won the race. He also won a stage and then finished the other stage in second. We were 1 stage sweep away from a perfect SVG weekend. But again, it was still a masterclass though. He definitely, just to show you how great he was fastest in practice, won the pole in qualifying. The guys over in the Fox booth, all 3 of those guys, they picked SVG to win. Like, there was no doubt that he was the guy to beat. Over AJ Allmendinger, by the way. It's just amazing. It's just crazy how OP Shane Van Gisbergen is on road courses. And if it wasn't for the bullshit track limits, and also if it wasn't for the battle with Austin Hill at Coda, if it wasn't for what happened at Coda, we could very well live in a universe where SVG has swept all 3 road courses so far in the season. And the next road course that we're going to is the Chicago Street Course in July. So he won the Cup race there in his debut. So he's no doubt he's gonna be the favorite to win the Xfinity race there as well. It's amazing how SVG, we all thought that he was gonna dominate the road courses along with AJ Allmendinger, but it has been all SVG. Basically, like, not even Allmendinger can match up to him, and Allmendinger has been pretty meh on road courses actually. Like, he runs top 5, but always something happens. At Coda, he finished in the top 10. Sonoma, he got spun out. He got a top 5 car for all races, but he didn't have like race winning speed. Like, if you saw stage 1, I really thought that AJ Allmendinger will be up there, right there, battling in the top 3 with SVG and Ty Gibbs, and then Austin Hill later on. But yeah, Allmendinger was just nowhere to be found in the top 3 for most of the race. Like, he had a top 5 car, but not a race winning car, in my opinion. Yeah, again, this just goes to show you how much Kaulig Racing has fallen ever since their glory days in 2021, 2022. But yeah, for as much shit as we give NASCAR on Fox, I'm oddly enough gonna miss them. I know we got the Cup race today, and by the way, the Cup race has already started. I believe the pre-race ceremonies are almost getting wrapped up. So as soon as I wrap up this video, I'm gonna turn on the stream and watch the Cup race. But For as much shit as we give NASCAR on Fox, I'm oddly enough gonna miss them. Even if it's just to make fun of them on social media, and not everything about them was bad, because you know how NASCAR fans on social media are, only highlighting the negatives. There were some positives, definitely. The biggest one of those, in my opinion, being Adam Alexander as a play-by-play announcer. These past couple of seasons, especially with him having to deal with the different driver personalities week in and week out, with the rotation that there is in the broadcast booth, he got to call races alongside Joe Logano, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez. His versatility in the booth really shows, and whether it's with Fox or any other network, I really hope he sticks around in NASCAR. He could be a potential candidate to become Fox's new play-by-play announcer once, Mike Joy retires. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to wrap this stream up here, and let's just enjoy the last race of the year on Fox. Again, good riddance. I'm so glad we're getting NBC for the rest of the season now. We're not dealing with this bullshit anymore.